make sure that you determine what kind of feeling you want people to leave with after the event. I always say that the spaces that America on Tech curates is intended to make a platform for people to feel empowered to give back to their communities. I always say that any space that we create for people to manifest the energy of our work is intended to let them feel like they are empowered to make change and that they can make that change through our organization. Welcome to Behind the Work, the show where we focus on all things leveling up, glowing up, and becoming our best selves. I'm your host, Jessica Santana, and I'm bringing you the tips, tricks, and strategies that help us reach our highest potential. So whether you're working at a company, building your business, or you're just trying to level up, this is for you. At Behind the Work, we believe that we all have to go up together, so make sure you're tapped in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Work, the show where we dive deep on all things leveling up, glowing up, and becoming our best selves. I'm your host, Jessica Santana, and if this is your first time tuning in, I want to say welcome to the show. So, the last several weeks on the show, we've had some of my favorite people on the podcast. We heard from some really amazing leaders and entrepreneurs who are growing businesses, starting startups, telling stories, and making a huge impact on the world. And when I have these conversations with leaders and with entrepreneurs and executives, I'm always really inspired to keep on the journey of building my own dreams. And I hope that the last couple of weeks provided you all with some inspiration on continuing to pursue yours. So, on the topic of pursuing dreams, I'm really excited because tomorrow I'm going to be celebrating 11 years of all things America on Tech. For those of you who are just tuning in today and don't know me or my professional background, for the last 11 years, I've been running an organization focused on technology education for young people across the country. And we're celebrating 11 years of doing this work tomorrow. We're bringing executives from all over the country, from all over our markets to something called the National Innovators and Disruptors Award Show. It's going to take place in New York City at Current in Chelsea Piers, and it's going to be a fabulous event. I'm really excited about the event because this is the first time that we're having it nationally. This event actually usually happens across the country in New York and LA, and we were going to bring it to Miami this year. But in our effort to be really strategic and really thoughtful around how we actually establish ourselves as a national brand, we decided to consolidate the entire event this year. And we're going to be celebrating it in our headquarters in New York City. And it's going to be a really amazing time. So, let me take you guys back a little bit. So, 2018, my co founder, Evan, and I, we got together and we were like, what can we do to bring the community of supporters that we've built through America on Tech together to celebrate, to meet each other, and to really have a great time and inspire them to continue to give to the communities that they are a part of? And the Innovators and Disruptors Awards is something that came up in our heads in 2018, like February 2018. And then by like October or November 2018, we had the first version of the event up and running. We reached out to a lot of our startup founders and friends. We booked the Paley Center for Media in New York City. It was an auditorium style event. It had a huge reception, and we had about like 200 people in attendance. And let me tell you, the first version of the event was so inspiring to me personally that Evan and I decided that it was going to be a signature event at our organization for years to come. And I'm really happy to say that it's been really successful. It's 2025. The event has been in existence since 2018. And even during the years of COVID, we found a way to make sure that we had the event even in a virtual manner. And so the Innovators and Disruptors brand has been around for a little while. And what I love about this event is that I feel like we thoughtfully curate an environment for people to feel inspired and to feel like they are a part of our work. And so we often get a lot of questions about how to throw a dope event, how to build an event series, how to just do events in general. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to dedicate an episode of Behind the Work to pull back the curtains a little bit on how we actually run the events at America on Tech and some of the thoughts that go into throwing a dope event in general. So, the first thing I'll say about events is that you have to figure out the first step, which is the first step for us is always what is the goal of the event? What are you trying to accomplish with your event? Especially if you're using your event to tie it to a business outcome or a business purpose. So for us, our vision and our goal with the event is to create a space where we can bring a community of supporters for America on Tech in general to be able to generate revenue and funds for the organization's programs. We're also hoping that the event accomplishes bringing people together that have similar interests and have an opportunity to meet each other and have a really good time supporting the same mission that they've been supporting for a long time. And so, when you all are thinking about what event you want to be putting together and how to gain clarity about what you want to accomplish, the first question you need to ask yourself is, what am I trying to accomplish with this event in the first place? Am I just trying to bring people together? Am I just trying to have a good time? Or, you are just trying to do the event, but you don't really have a purpose. For us, the purpose is always to bring the community of supporters that we have together and to raise funds for the organization. After you've determined what the goal of your event is, what you want to do is determine who is the audience. Who are you trying to attract for the event? Throughout the year at America on Tech, we have several events. We have cultivation lunches, we have award show, which is the Innovators and Disruptors Awards. We have demo days, we have classroom visits. There's lots of things and lots of events, both small and large, that we put together to bring our community, our supporter together of support together. But for this specific event, the audience is not just our community of support, but it's usually the community of supporters that we have from a corporate perspective that we invite to this event, as well as some of our students and some of our community-based partners as well. And the reason for this is because we want this event to be a business to business event. We want this to be an event where we're bringing all of our supporters together, but they have an opportunity to meet each other and potentially also do business with one another. I think that one of the best things you can do for people is provide value when they are showing up to your event. You have to determine what that value is. For us, the value is being in community with like-minded people, with like-minded executives, with like-minded corporate professionals who really believe in the power of creating the next generation of technology leaders. And they have a shared interest, not only from a organization or a community perspective, but they also have a shared professional interest because of the industries that they operate in. And so, outside of establishing the goal for the event and what you want to accomplish, you're also going to want to determine who the audience is and what is going to be the value that you're driving to them while they are there, outside of what you are going to be extracting from them. So, the third thing that you need to consider when you are throwing a really dope event is the venue. So, for us, we want the Innovators and Disruptors Awards to always feel luxurious and premium and exciting. We want this to be the reason why people get dressed on a random evening throughout the week. I think that getting dressed up and feeling good about yourself and then entering a venue that makes you feel special and pretty and Beautiful is such a great way to celebrate. And so we always try to make sure that the venues that we select at American Tech are really beautiful. So we've selected various venues. We've done our events in big hotel spaces. Like when we did the events in LA, we've used things like the Andaz Hotel, the London. We've also had it at the JW Marriott at LA Live. In New York City, we've always had this event at current Chelsea Piers or at the Lighthouse Chelsea Piers. It oversees the water. You can see the skyline of New Jersey. You can also just feel the breeze and be around the boats. And I think that it just provides such a premium feel for the attendees to feel like they're something a lot larger than themselves. And I think that venues are really important because you want to bring people to a space where they're feeling valued, especially when you're going to be charging a certain amount of money for the tickets for the event. The other thing that you want to take into consideration outside of the venue is you're going to want to consider what are folks going to experience while they are at the event. So for us at America on Tech, we have a VIP reception that happens at the beginning of the event where we select a few of our corporate partners and esteemed guests to come together to share with them some exclusive information about our organization. Then thereafter, we open the doors to everyone else. And then while they're at the event, you see the food flowing, you see the past hors d'oeuvres, you can gain access to the open bar, you can hear beautiful music. Sometimes we have live entertainment during the reception. You can really walk around and see some of the students' projects. You can meet other people. And it is really beautifully decorated. And so this is what the folks experience while they're at the event. Then they have a really sophisticated sit down dinner that's plated, and they have an opportunity to sit among their peers and other folks that they might not even know. And when you have an environment where people just have a really great time because of the experience that you provide, that always resonates with them. It leaves them inspired and makes them feel like they are a part, like I said before, like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And they are. And so that's another thing to consider is like, what are people going to experience? So, how you develop the program from start to finish is always helpful. One thing that I do almost every year, interestingly enough, I didn't do it this year, but it was honestly because we've done this event in this venue before. But if you are starting your event and you've never done the venue before, one thing you should do is take one morning or one afternoon and go to the venue and walk through it as you are one of the attendees. You want to get out of the Uber, you want to walk through the venue, you want to open the door, you want to take in the scenery, you want to experience it from a user standpoint. I think the user experience that you provide attendees is important. And sometimes when you put yourself in the seats of the attendee by being able to do this before the event is running, I think gives you a sense of how to design the event, where to put registration, where to put, your decorations, your step and repeat, balloons, whatever. And so do that if you're going to do it. Doing the experience is important. It'll allow you to design and curate how you want the event to flow and how you want the event to be structured from a design perspective. The other piece of advice that I can give you all who are interested in developing a really dope event is to think about what kind of food you are going to have. I think that the venues that we use always have really amazing food, and we make sure to have a diverse range of food options. So you always want to have, meat. You want to always have something that's vegan or vegetarian, and you always want to have I'm gonna say you're gonna want some liquor, you're gonna want open bar, you're gonna want some dessert, and you're gonna want some really dope past hors d'oeuvres during the reception hour. Should you have a reception hour tied to your event, and you're gonna want to make sure that the food options are diverse enough to cater to the audience. There are some people, even like me, for example, that don't eat red meat. And I know that I would be upset and hungry if I paid a really high ticket price to go to an event that doesn't have the kind of food that I eat. You know what I'm saying? And so I think my best advice is to make sure that you look at the menu, that you curate the menu to the audience to make sure that it hits different points of interest. Another thing that you can think about when you are developing a dope event is to consider including some entertainment. The last few years, we've had dancers, we've had live bands, we've had some great performances from local nonprofits, and we have an opportunity to really embed them in the fabric and the design of the program. We've worked with organizations to bring their young people to perform on the stage, and we've also, been able to pay and compensate those people and those organizations to be a part of the event. I think it's really important to keep it very community based, and I really enjoyed that. If your event is looking for entertainment, consider working with a local nonprofit that is focused on the arts, and find some really amazing entertainment. I think that you can do it at a very affordable price. The other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you book really amazing photographers and videographers. I always say that the event day is important, but the ways in which you actually accumulate digital assets post event is also really important. You want to be able to tell the story of the event for people that are not there, especially if you're trying to make it sponsorable for the next year. So make sure that you are collecting a lot of media, a lot of videos, and make sure that you're posting it afterward. You're doing blog recaps and recaps of the event, during and after social media so that people can look at what you're doing. The other thing I'm going to say is that your master of ceremony is really important. We've been really fortunate over the last several years to be able to confirm some really amazing talent. We've had Mario Lopez, we've had Ali Charlatan. We've had a number of news correspondents from media companies. And to be honest with you, I think that they do such a phenomenal job at telling the story of the organization, but also are very charismatic with the audience during the program. And then the other piece of advice I can share is to make sure that you determine what kind of feeling you want people to leave with after the event. I always say that the spaces that American Tech curates is intended to make a platform for people to feel empowered to give back to their communities. I always say that any space that we create for people to manifest the energy of our work is intended to let them feel like they are empowered to make change, and that they can make that change through our organization. And so I say this all to say that if you all are looking for really amazing ways to bring people together, always make sure that you're being thoughtful about the emotions you want to evoke in them while they are with you. I always say my favorite philosopher is Jay-Z. Sean Carter. And he has a line that goes, "You could be anywhere in the world, but you're sitting here with me." And to be honest with you, it's true. People don't have to attend your event. They can be doing a million other things. And the fact that you got them to successfully come into a room, I believe, is worth you spending the time thinking about how you are going to leave an impression on their imagination, not even during the time that they're with you, but even after they leave. And so those are my thoughts for this week's episode of Behind the Work. If you guys are in New York City and you want to attend the event, actually, no, this is a lie. You can't attend the event. The event actually sold out, sold out already. But next year, when the event actually is announced and tickets go on sale, make sure that you go and you purchase some and join us. I always love this event. It is one of my favorite things that we do at American Tech outside of the programs that we put on and deliver to our young people and the impact that we make. And I believe that anyone who attends our event is going to have such an amazing time. And I hope that this episode was helpful in getting you to think about some of the things that you can consider when you are maybe delivering or building the momentum for your first event. It's really hard to put on events. Really hard. Very intricate details go into the planning process, into the thoughts that you curate in your mind about what you want people to leave with. And while it is incredibly difficult, it is also really well worth it. And so thanks so much for tuning in this week, y'all. I had an amazing time connecting with you guys. I haven't been on here doing a solo episode in a minute. And in fact, it's actually going to be us for the next couple of weeks. I don't have too many things going on and so I want to make sure that I spend some one-on-one time with you all. I obviously love doing the interviews, but I also love just talking on the podcast in general and getting you all some thoughts that are in my head onto this platform. And it's going to be us, between now and the end of the year. And also, let me say that outside of it just being us, on the podcast, I also have a holiday food series. I have a holiday food series that I'm dropping between now and the end of the year as well. The first video already came out. I showed you all how to make a holiday turkey, a pavochon, Puerto Rican style. So if you haven't checked it out on the channel or on my social media channels, please do. It's under the brand Behind the Foodie. And I will talk to you all soon. We'll chop it up soon. Peace out. Oh, wait. Please subscribe, follow, share if this left you with anything that you felt good about and you want to share with others. I really appreciate it. My goal is to continue to grow the podcast and the platform. Your ratings matter, your comments matter, when you share it matters, and it really means a lot to me when you all do so. And so I'll talk to you all soon. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and social media. Peace out. Mwah. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Behind the Work. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and follow us on social media. I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing how this show is leaving an impact on you.